Hello there, people. I've had several requests for a create a class video, see what classes I use, also see my stats, player card, whatever. So I figured now is as good a time as any. So I'm going to try and stumble through this. Hopefully it's not too boring or dry or long. That's what she said. But let's start with the creative classes. The reason I want to do this now is I'm about to prestige again, and I want to do this last prestige, but I forgot until after I prestiged, and now I've got everything unlocked, and I'm going to be prestiging again soon, so I figured I better do it. My next prestige is going to unlock custom class 9, so right now I've got 8. That's enough, because when I get more, it's going to be kind of more variations of the same, but this will be a good idea of kind of what I like to use in general, or roughly. As you can see, by the way I have these named, and I may change my naming scheme when I have more of them. I've restructured these before. People who've seen my creative classes in the past have seen. I used to have like an assault, an SMG, an LMG. It used to be, I started out having one class for like each primary type of weapon. Then I went to having one for different kind of engagement distances. If I was expecting long range, I had like an assault, medium range, like a rifleman long range, sniper range, CQB was close range, stuff like that, and then an anti-air kit. But I've kind of been evolving as I've been going because I found I used some more than others, so I wanted to start making creative classes that were useful in all situations, or multiple situations, and I keep the Wheezy's choice as kind of a wild card, kind of just what I feel like playing with. You'll see some of these right now are set up. For instance, Wheezy's choice is set up right now, Lightweight Marathon, because the last thing I played, we'll see when we get to my combat record, was playing some Capture the Flag with KJ, so that's why that's set up. So this is kind of a situational, or whatever I feel like using, Wheezy's choice. This used to be called Gits and Shiggles. I don't know why I decided to change it, but now it's Wheezy's choice. Right now, Rapid Fire Spectre. You've heard me probably say before, if you've seen my other videos, that with SMGs I love to run Rapid Fire, and I just think that's what's best on SMGs. Some people like extended mags. Some people, I don't know. Rapid Fire seems good for me because, and here's why. An SMG is meant for close quarters situations. It's supposed to be most effective there. Meaning that the most important thing at that closer range is time to kill. You're trying to kill people quickly at close range. SMGs at close range have good damage, but not really much better than assault rifles in general, unless you're counting like the Scorpion and you got your gun pressed into a guy's butthole. But in general, at close range, it's best to kill quickly. That's kind of the point of the SMG, and using rapid fire is good, especially if you run sleight of hand. And you'll see here, sleight of hand and hacker are kind of my go-tos, just because they're the most effective, I think. Sleight of hand is kind of like my stopping power for this, for Black Ops. I have trouble playing without it, and even you'll see the ones where I'm running, like, Warlord, or if I'm not running sleight of hand, I tend to run dual mags, so I have at least half of sleight of hand. But anyway, another thing I like running rapid fire and SMGs for is because, there's two downsides of running rapid fire. One is you run out of ammo quickly. Sleight of hand helps offset that. And running it with scavenger, like I have here in my Russian kit, is preferable because obviously you're going to be running out of ammo pretty rapidly. I think running rapid fire and SMG, you really have to have sleight of hand, because you will need to reload after, if not every kill, every other kill. And since you're trying to get close to people, you'll often run into 3 or 4 people, and you need to be able to have ammo in your gun. But I had this set up with lightweight for Capture the Flag, and for objective games, I don't tend to run scavenger, because the idea in objective games isn't to stay along a long time and stay alive for a long time and get kill streaks. It's to achieve the objective. So I expect to die more often in objective games, so I have less need for large quantities of ammo. My killing class tends to be whatever I... It's kind of a fallback class for when I want to have a class that's effective. It's usually good for counteracting a lag or a bad connection, or sometimes if you get into a game when your team is just terrible and you're trying to use like an M14 or something, and your team's just not doing well enough for you to be able to I don't want to say handicap yourself, but when I'm using the M14, I'm not, in general, not going to do as well as when I'm using the AUG or the FAMAS. So this is kind of a class for when, nothing else is working, come back to it. Or when we're playing like Team Deathmatch, or I'm trying to complete a contract that requires a certain number of kills or a certain kill streak. Goes along with my streaking class. So in this I'll usually have, lately usually on this I tended to have an assault rifle with dual mags, and then I would run, in perk 1 I would usually run hardline. Flak jacket I tend to save for when I'm playing objective games. I'll run ghost when it's appropriate, but if I'm trying to do a killing class, chances are I don't want ghost as much, because you want people to kind of know where you are. If that makes sense. You want to kill people, so you want them coming to you. One good thing to do is kind of, and you'll see I think I have it set up in one of these, kind of like this G11 class. Sometimes I'll set up my killing class like that, where I'll run Ghost with an unsilenced weapon. So, like Ghost and dual mags. I won't need Scavenger because I'll have dual mags, and then Ghost will keep me off the radar when I'm moving, and then when I start shooting, it brings enemies to me. So it's kind of a good baiting technique to get into a position, get into the enemy spawn, and then start bringing them to you. But right now, the most effective one for me has been the silenced AUG with Scavenger to keep, so just good old-fashioned killing. With Scavenger, I would normally, especially Scavenger Pro, I'd normally run a launcher in the secondary slot, but since this is specifically for killing, if I get into a situation where even with Scavenger, I'm running low on ammo, it's good to have that pistol as a backup. But when you're running Scavenger or dual mags, a lot of times it's better to have a launcher as a secondary, just because you won't use your secondary, your pistol secondary very often, so why not have something that can shoot down air support? Streaking tends to be if I want to get a kill streak going. A lot of times in here, I'll have an assault rifle, because you need that range. You can't really reliably get kill streaks at close range. You can get kill streaks at close range, but it's harder to do. So usually I'll run an assault rifle with hardline. Right now I'm running Ghost because, I don't know, I just felt like it. But usually I'll run hardline in this class, usually an assault rifle with dual mags. If I'm not running Scavenger and I have a choice, chances are I'll run dual mags on an assault rifle. There's not really any assault rifles that I don't really like the iron sights for, so I find it almost unnecessary on most weapons to use an optic. A couple notable exceptions would be the AK-47 and the Galil, without a silencer. With silencers, they're better, but without a silencer, those guns tend to recoil a little too much. So you'll get your iron sights on your target and you'll fire, and then you'll kind of lose sight of them as you're waiting for that recoil to come down, which is, I found, a big disadvantage. So on those, I'll like I have here, I'll run Warlord with a red dot or a reflex. I prefer the reflex over the red dot in general, but I was just trying the red dot back out again. Here, the G11, and it'd be similar with the M16, the M14, or the FAL. Any semi-auto or burst fire weapon, I find in general doesn't need dual mags or Scavenger. Just the nature of the weapon doesn't tend to run it out of ammo very quickly, so you can use a different perk 1 or a different attachment. So like with the M16, I might run an optic on it, like a reflex, just because I don't really need the extra ammo. And then same deal here, since I'm not really worried about my primary weapon's ammunition, I run the Strel as the secondary, also because I think I'm done with my shoot-down challenges for my Ghost perk for this Prestige. I just need a sentry gun. But, it's always nice to shoot down air support. It's good for your team, it's good for you. I haven't talked much about my equipment. I'll go back and talk about that in perks, but right now I'm just talking about weapons. My Russian class, This used to have marathon lightweight in it, but in general I found that having that ability to sprint even when you're rushing isn't entirely necessary. Hacker's better to have to avoid enemy claymores, and Scavenger's better to keep yourself into ammo because you're rushing but you're still planning on killing a bunch of people, so it's better to not have to rely on your pistol as much. But that's usually a... Matter of fact, this class is always an SMG, and it's usually got rapid fire on it. I really enjoy the MP5, the Spectre. The AK-74's fine too. I actually kind of prefer the MP5 to the AK-74. I was trying out the MPL again, which is why it's unlocked. I've tried out all the submachine guns a decent amount. You'll see that I've unlocked the one with the exception of the MPL, which I still am not a big fan of. But the Spectre, the 74U, the MP5K. I enjoy the PM63, but the PM63 you have to run with extended mags, Scavenger, and sleight of hand to make it effective, I think. Well, not extended mags, rapid fire. So rapid fire, sleight of hand, and Scavenger, because you got to use a lot of ammo with some of these SMGs to make them effective at all. The Uzi is hard to make effective in anything. The Kaparis I'm not a big fan of either, so I haven't really cared here. You'll see. Assault rifles, I got them all unlocked. You know, everybody loves assault rifles. I don't use shotguns unless I feel like screwing around, and that doesn't happen very often. I do like the LMGs, I just haven't used them really at all this Prestige, and I never snipe. I'm going to try and do a sniping video because of a request, but this game, I'm not complaining about it, but in this game, sniping is pretty much broken, useless. I mean, if you want to be a team player and have a better chance for your team to win, being a sniper always hurts your team. There is no one... This game doesn't allow anyone to be good enough to be a real asset to their team with a sniper rifle. You might be able to, on occasion, do okay with a sniper rifle and help your team, but you won't be as effective as you would be with an assault rifle or something else. It's just a fact, so... I don't snipe. My sneaking class always has a silencer and ghost on it. Those are the prerequisites for being my sneaking class. Here I'm running it with Warlord, dual mags and a silencer. So because I run Ghost in this class, Warlord is almost essential to keep that extra ammo, and the silencer. You need the silencer, you need Ghost. So Warlord's the best way to keep yourself in ammo. The launchers again for like the Ghost challenges and just being a team player. Hacker over Ninja. In general, most people aren't surprised. Like, I haven't found that Ninja gives you all that much of an advantage. With Ninja Pro, it might be good from a sound whoring standpoint, but I have not really found that many people get an advantage over me because they hear me coming. So I don't think really Ninja's is important. But just my personal preference. My objective class, flak jacket. That's kind of the prerequisite for my objective class. Flak jacket, because you're going to be on flags, planting bombs, etc., etc. You need to survive grenades. Recently, I've been running with Nova Gas and Tac Mask, which is very effective. Dropping Nova Gas on objectives or routes to objectives is very helpful. I usually run this with an SMG simply because it gives me the faster move speed, and I'm trying to get 2 objectives, so that's preferable. This one will be one of the few where I'll sometimes run like an extended mags, simply because you're going to an objective in a higher traffic area, but rapid fire is more effective on SMGs still, so sometimes I'll run an assault rifle on this, but I find it just slows me down too much to be effective at the objective. Tac insertion, obviously, to keep you close to the objective. Extremely useful, invaluable. In Domination, you can do without it. Matter of fact, whenever I use this class in Domination, I don't tend to use my tac insertion at all. But for Sabotage and Demolition, and well, mainly Sabotage and Demolition, the most useful thing you can have. And the secondary there, because you're not really going to be shooting down air support with this class. Support, this is kind of what's the de facto become the de facto my anti-air, although most of my classes now, or a good number of my classes are anti-air now, so it's just kind of integrated. So this tends to be my LMG class now. This used to be the anti-air class. LMGs in this game, with the exception of the M60, don't have LMG-sized magazines, so I only run extended mags on LMGs, except the M60, which I'll run grip on. Sleight of hand pro for the M60 I find is essential to make it really effective, because having that quicker aim down sights is what that M60 is all about. But yeah, LMG class, if it's not the M60, then it's extended mags. I love the, God, I even forgot it. I love the Stoner. No jokes about that. Probably my favorite LMG. Then the M60, the HK21, and then the RPK is my least favorite. I'm liking it more lately, but it's just not a big one. And I don't use this kit very often, really, because a lot of my classes have anti-air now. I don't have a whole lot of reason to use LMGs. Contracting, what it sounds like, I tend to set this up for something that'll complete a contract I'm working on. If I'm trying to do kill streaks, I'll probably put hardline in this. If I'm trying to just get in a certain number of kills, I'll probably run Ghost or Scavenger. In general, this will be kind of a Ghost one if I'm doing a challenge for kills, and I'll leave my killing as my killing one. But if I have to do anything special, shooting down air support or something like that, this will be usually what I set up for that. So this is kind of my... so I don't have to break my normal classes based on a contract I'm doing. I can just set something up specifically for completing contracts. So, you know, I mean, it's... In previous Call of Duty, mainly Call of Duty 4, after I completed... I never prestiged in COD 4, so after I went all the way to level 55, unlocked all the weapons, I completed every single challenge in that game. I started using a lot more gun classes to kind of screw around. I'm not quite to that point in this game yet. I'm enjoying it for what it is. I like to do well. I like to win. So there's a lot of assault rifles, SMGs. I don't really screw around a whole lot in this game with like shotguns and stuff like that. I will on occasion, but in general I have these set up to try and be effective while still leaving some variety. So you see I don't have like the FAMAS and everything or the AK-74U. I like to switch it up, but you know, Wheezy's Choice will oftentimes have a semi-auto like the M14 or a burst fire like the M16 in it. This just happened to be set up for capture the flag. Claymores, I find are I use those most often as my equipment when I'm not doing objectives with attack insertions. And because, even though it kind of sounds counterintuitive, the Claymore is the least campy of all the equipment, in my opinion. Because the motion sensor, you have to be near it for it to be effective. The jammer, you have to be near it for it to be effective. Obviously, the attack insertion is only really effective for objective games, in my opinion. I mean, you could use it to stay close to the enemy spawn in team deathmatch, but that's really what other equipment is there? Camera spike, only effective if you stay near it. C4, only really effective if you stay near it, unless you leave it at an objective. But there's a good chance, I've done that before, like on Domination, leave it at the flag. When the flag starts getting capped, detonate it. But what I find more often than not is someone's already been spamming grenades there and it's just gone, or you get killed before you get a chance to destroy it, so you have to run back to the flag, replant it, and then go, and you get killed, you got to go back. I find Claymore's the least campy, most effective, because I'm just running around, I'll just place it somewhere where I think someone's going to hit, you know, a high traffic area. Just drop it down and then just run on and do my thing, and you know, you stay alive for a little while, and then, you know, 2 or 3 minutes later, just boom, someone dies, and you get a blackbird because you're, you know, higher up in your kill streak. So, I like Claymores. Just leave them behind, run off, and let them do their thing. They're also useful sometimes, kind of as motion sensors, even if they don't kill someone. If someone sets it off, it tends to, you know, you'll either get the audio cue saying someone destroyed your equipment, or you'll get a hit marker or something with it, and that lets you know, well, I wasn't shooting anybody. Where'd I get that hit marker? Someone went through my Claymore, so I know where somebody is. Hacker, I use it less to dodge Claymores. I mean, that's obviously what it's really effective for. But what I really like about Hacker is it lets me know where the enemy is, especially in, well, in all game modes. But if someone's using a motion sensor, or in general a Claymore, there's a good chance you see one of those halfway across the map through a wall, you know someone's near it. So it's a good way to find where the enemy is. It's like, hey, there's a motion sensor. Someone's got to be close to that. And with Hacker Pro, the motion sensor doesn't really even affect you. So it's even better. But I found that a lot of people who rely on motion sensors oftentimes can't defend themselves even when the motion sensor says that you're showing up. So a couple concussion grenades will stop anyone who's camping an entrance by the motion sensor. Claymores are easy to get around. So, and I've only recently really gotten to use Hacker Pro a few times to sabotage enemy care packages, and that is very, very gratifying to steal their care package. And, you know, about a minute after that, when they come back, they're like, hey, you didn't get the care package. Boom! And then they're dead. That's very satisfying. So, yeah, like I said, sleight of hand, I love it. Invaluable for the way I play. When I start doing my tips videos and stuff, and especially when I do the one on reloading and on fighting multiple enemies, the sleight of hand is so invaluable in most situations. And there's really not many second perks, really, that are better than it. I almost always aim down sights, so steady aim is almost useless for me. Obviously, I don't snipe. I think I've never unlocked Scout. I'm pretty sure I never have, because I've never really used a sniper rifle to the point where I need it. And I've also found that holding your breath longer when you're scoped in isn't always all that useful when you're actually sniping, because I don't know. I just found that holding your breath for a long time is kind of unnecessary unless you're really focusing on a spot, which you shouldn't really do as a sniper. You should kind of keep checking popular spots and then only hold your breath long enough to shoot at a target. And the faster secondary sweep, like I said, I don't snipe. So, Warlord's useful. Probably the second most useful perk in my opinion, especially the pro version gives you extra grenades and stuff like that. Hardened, I don't do a lot of shooting through walls or anything like that. And oftentimes I find that the flinch that I get when I get shot gets me headshots. So I don't know. It's unlocked by default, but yeah, it's sleight of hand, the occasional warlord, and then anything else I feel like screwing around. Like I said, tac mask I'm starting to like for objectives, but I haven't really, you know, I've been using it a little bit here. It's got some Nova Gas stuff, but not much with anything else. Marathon I use rarely. Ninja rarely. Second Chance I've never purchased this. And until I reach 15th, well, I think I may stop at 14th Prestige, I'm not sure. Until I reach my final Prestige, I'm not going to unlock this. I have no use for it. I hate it. I hate when other people use it. So I've never purchased it. Hacker, it's always the second thing I buy. I buy Sleight of Hand first, like every Prestige. The first thing I go and do as soon as I can is buy Sleight of Hand. Then Hacker. I love Hacker. Just an invaluable perk. And perk 1, I use them all. Perk 1 is in Black Ops is the most important slot, you know, based on your playstyle, and you know, this is what perk 1's all about. So I use those. Lightweight is the one I use least. I don't melee very much. Scavenger I didn't used to use much because I used a lot of dual mags, but lately I've been using it more. Shit, I just changed that. Oh well, I'm not gonna be playing more Capture the Flag. Ghost is useful. As I've said many times about Ghost, I don't hate Ghost. I hate people I don't hate people who use Ghost. I hate when people use Ghost against me. That sounds the same, but it's different. I don't hate people for using Ghost. When Ghost is used against me, I hate it because it's very effective. It always catches me off guard because I'm using that radar to determine where enemies are, and I get in a false sense of security. Hey, no one's around me. Ghost killed. It's not an unbalanced perk. It's not a bad perk. It's an effective perk, so I'm not going to hate on it. I love it. I love to use it. People probably get mad at me when I use it, but it's a good perk. It does what it's supposed to do. Nothing wrong with it. Flak Jacket, love it for objectives. You know, surviving explosives, absolutely. I've never been able to get... I've never tried hard enough to get Pro, but I found that Napalm doesn't tend to be really heavily used, and even when it is, isn't too horrible to avoid. It can be annoying, but it hasn't been worth doing that. I completed this one just the other day playing Sabo and Demo. You guys will see those, but you know, it took me 3 or 4 games to do this. Hardline, really good. I haven't been using it as much lately. I almost never use care packages, so this is what you'll normally see with me on Hardline. Because I don't use care packages, so Hardline Pro isn't really as useful for me. So I don't tend to really even worry about it. But yeah, so this is what you'll normally see on Hardline. I'll finish this, like really quickly. I can usually do this in 1 game. But then I'll just, you know, I don't use care packages. So yeah, that's pretty much my created class. My opinion on the perks and the weapons and the equipment. Oh, I guess I should mention for lethal grenades, I prefer Simtex just because I have a higher use-to-kill ratio with it. I kill people more often when I use Simtex than when I use frags. Frags, you can throw them further. I would say, I don't know. I prefer Simtex. Frags, in general, I think are good, but Simtex, since you can't cook them and they explode pretty quickly, you know, it's easy to throw it and then just go on with your business. Frags, you really have to stop and cook it for 2 or 3 seconds to really have it be effective, unless you're doing a placement grenade and you're throwing it across the map, in which case the longer fuse and the longer throw distance is really useful. But I'll give the slight nudge to Simtex, but I've used both extensively, as you'll see when we get to the stats. Tomahawks, unless you're screwing around, they're useless, so I don't think I've ever bought Tomahawks either, but you know, they're for screwing around. They're for trying to be fancy. I tend to use concussion grenades almost exclusively. And the main reason is because they throw quickly. Flashbangs and concussion grenades. Flashbangs, I think, are a lot more effective. They completely blind someone for a long time. An excessively long time, if you ask me. Flashbangs, you know, are extremely effective, but they take too damn long to use. Concussion grenades, you throw them fast, and I use them mostly as feelers. So I'm passing through an area, I want to know, is there a guy in that room? Boom, concussion grenade, you throw it real quick. Hit marker, someone's there. No hit marker, nothing's there. Same thing for getting through equipment. There's a claymore, motion sensor, something like that. You hit it with the concussion grenade real quick. It's disabled. Claymores, you can run right past them. Motion sensors, sometimes that's enough to freak the guy out who's using it. Not as effective there. They're really effective against claymores mainly, especially if you're trying to hack stuff with Hacker Pro, but in general, hacking stuff with Hacker Pro isn't as useful because the person using that equipment is probably right behind it, so you'll either kill them and it'll go away before you have a chance to hack it, or while you're hacking it, they're going to realize something's going on and they're going to come kill you. I mean, I've hacked some things, but that's not as useful a part of Hacker Pro in my opinion. Decoys can be effective. I used them extensively my first time through. Haven't used them really much since. They are effective distractions, and there's some cool things you can do. Like, I've had times when I've been shooting at a guy who's up in a window. I take cover, I throw a decoy out, he pops out to shoot it where the decoy is, and easy kill. I was using decoys for capture the flag to, you know, we got the flag runner running one way or something like that. I was tossing decoys to kind of get people confused, make them think that someone's shooting at them. But I like concussion grenades. Nova Gas I've been enjoying a lot for objective games. I used to use smoke, not in Black Ops, but in like Modern Warfare 2 and COD 4. I used to love smoke. It was, you know, and it's still true that it's very effective for what you're doing for obscuring movement, but I found it's not as useful for the rushing playstyle I have in Black Ops. So, mostly concussion grenades. Mostly concussion grenades. I've talked about equipment. I think I've covered all there is to cover really about that.